Alexander the Great was a Greek Macedonian king whose passion for geography fueled his desire to conquer the world. During the 4th century, Alexander conquered Asia Minor, Iran and Iraq, becoming king of the Persian Empire. He then went on to invade India, seduced by its beauty and riches, believing it was the eastern end of the world with nothing but sea beyond the land. In 326 BC, Alexander entered India for the very first time through the mountainous Khyber Pass. On his first encounter, Prince Ambi of Taxila surrendered to the great conqueror, aware of his reputation to avoid any losses, and many other small kingdoms in the region followed suit. But one who resisted was King Porus. King Porus ruled the kingdom of Parava, and he wouldn't accept defeat without a fair chance in battle, so he stood at the banks of the river ready with his army. Prince Ambi and Porus were rivals, so the Taxilas assisted Alexander in battle by offering 5,000 of their own soldiers. With melting snow from the Himalayas and approaching monsoons, Alexander knew by navigating head-on he would risk high casualties. So he misled the Indian troops by dissimulating attempts to cross the river. When he found a suitable ford 30 kilometers upstream, Alexander finally took the chance and gathered his best units, transferring them east of the river. Porus sent his young prince with 2,000 men to investigate, but the prince didn't survive, and the Macedonian army marched forward, leaving many of their men behind on the west bank of Hydaspes. Despite being heavily loaded with cavalry, archers and horses, the Macedonian army struggled in battle against the 100 war elephants deployed by the Indian forces. Alexander eventually gained victory over Porus, but moved by the king's bravery in battle, he ordered Porus's release and medical assistance, restoring the kingdom and many other territories. Then, they soon became allies. Alexander wanted to invade further, but his troops, who had been fighting and winning battles for over a decade, were homesick and concerned about their health in the blazing Indian tropics. After 19 months, Alexander returned to Macedonia, appointing his governors at the many small states conquered by him in the northwest of India, where he created 4 satrapies and populated it with Greek settlers. During his time in India, Alexander became fond of Buddhist philosophies and acquired a yogi known as Swami Sphinx to be his teacher. He was called Kalanos by the Greeks and accompanied Alexander to Persia, where he entered a funeral pyre in front of the Macedonian army. Before his death, he embraced all of his close companions except Alexander, to whom he said, "I shall see you shortly in Babylon." A year later, Alexander left Persia and died in Babylon. Alexander's invasion attempt was the first contact between the Greeks and the Indians. It opened distinct routes by land and sea, enabling Greek merchants to establish business with India. More Greek settlements were drawn towards India, influencing the art and architecture in the subcontinent. This was prominent to the Mauryan Empire during Ashoka's reign and the Greco-Buddhist period. Today, remnants of Alexander's historic encounter can be seen throughout India.